and just internalizing a lot of traumas and things that have happened in my life. And, you know, I'm not from America. I'm not American. You know, my entire family and my heritage and my parents and like my entire life is from Europe. I was raised a little differently, and I internalized a lot of things. I internalized a lot of hurt, a lot of sadness, a lot of pain that I experienced as a kid. You know, I wasn't really taught to express myself and express my feelings, especially by my father. I was taught to, you know, get over things and be a man about it and all those weird, just old school mentality. And that's not to blame my parents. It's, you know, probably how they were raised. But today, things are so much more open and welcoming and just different. And I think the topic of mental health is extremely important. However, when it comes to depression, anxiety, self-harm, and just really mental health in general, there is such a stigma still about it, especially on the internet and YouTube. First and foremost, I want to make this video to help lessen that stigma, and also I want you guys to know that this is not a video to come off as relatable or use depression and anxiety as a crutch or in a comedic way, like how a lot of people do on Twitter. You know, this is real. This is my life. This is something that I've been dealing with for the past 10 years of my life since I was like 17, 18. There's no intro. There's no, you know, snazzy editing in this video. It's just me and you talking on camera, being real and raw and realistic, and just opening up to you guys, because that's what I want to do from now on. I'm trying harder to lower my walls and not come off as such a perfectionist and somebody who's like obsessive compulsive in the image that they're putting out online, because I don't think that's realistic and that's not who my authentic self is. You know, as much as a charming, goofy, like funny person I am, I hold a lot back. And I think it's because I'm scared, and I don't want to be scared anymore. And I hope that this video can help one of you guys out there who may be dealing with the same thing, and I'm nervous as hell to talk about it. For the past 10 years of my life, I have been dealing with depression and anxiety on a not just a surface level. A lot of you guys don't know, but I've been on my own since I was around 16 and a half, 17. I come from a very religious Eastern European family. My father and I don't have a relationship. We never really have. And when I came out as gay, it was not approved, and I just did not feel safe, and I didn't feel welcome. And so I left and I moved in with my brother. And then luckily enough, I was on a scholarship and immediately went into school after a few flubs with other ideas. So yeah, I've just been on my own since then for almost over 10 years now, and I haven't been back home since. But when I got to college, I had a really hard time. I had a hard time adjusting. I didn't have a support system. I was lost. And I started having feelings of self-harm and suicide. And I was just in a really dark place for my first semester of college. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be emotional because I'm just like, I haven't been emotional in a long time. I was just scared. I was alone. I was new in my sexuality and who I was as a gay man, as a gay boy, and I just didn't have anyone. I of course had friends, but I'm the type of person I don't like to throw all my problems on someone. So I internalize it, and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and over years and years and years, I got to a point in the past 3 years that I just couldn't deal anymore. So during college was my first, actually a little bit before college, was my first time experimenting with medication. You know, I went to my campus counselor. They put me on a medication through the health situation, the medical clinic on campus. And at the time, they just put me on a random medication. And since then, I have been on so many different medications. And it's something I've never spoken about because it was looked down on 5-10 years ago. And even today it can be, which it shouldn't, because this is not something that I chose to do. This is a chemical imbalance in my body. You know, I went through a lot of shit and a lot of hard times, more than your average person who has like a loving, supportive family. And that's okay, but I just didn't have the support system. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have a therapist at the time. All I had was the medic on campus. So I was put on a medication, and from that moment on, my personality changed. I became very, I don't know how to explain it, but almost robotic. I feel like I was on cruise control for a very long time, and I just kept internalizing things. You know, I may have not been depressed, but I was not myself. I realized like I had become a person that I didn't like. And over the past year in general, post-breakup, I realized that I needed to start putting myself first. I think the breakup was a catalyst for me. It was, especially with pandemic and COVID and everything, I finally had the time to really focus on just myself instead of focusing on a partner, a relationship, a home, a relationship with my mom who also lived with us, the dogs, touring, production, shows, all these amazing things that I had been fulfilled with in my life. But I forgot about who I was, and I forgot about putting myself first. So over the past year, I started working out more. I started eating better. Not that I wasn't, but I kicked it into high gear. And what was most important was seeing a therapist and discussing the medications that I was on. And from the start, after a lot of talking, a lot of opening up, a lot of trauma, a lot of healing, it came to be that I was misdiagnosed and I was on a lot of the wrong medications. And about 6 months ago, I stopped cold turkey with the help of my psychiatrist and my therapist and my doctors. I can't stress this enough. Do not do this by yourself. Do not do this without supervision. Talk to your parents, talk to a friend, talk to a therapist, talk to a guidance counselor. It is not safe to do this alone. And I was able to do this under supervision, and it all happened because of my breakup. You know, I was at the lowest point in my life, and I'm like, I can't get any lower than this. If I do, I will be dead. And it just sucks that it took that. It took that realization that I don't want to be here anymore to really put myself first. I was always raised to put others first and be there unconditionally for people, and that's what it took. Because I wasn't letting anybody in anymore. I wasn't communicating with my partner. Again, this is nobody's fault but my own. It's not even a fault, it's just like a part of life. Anyways, I was just in a really dark place. And I'm so happy that I'm here right now to talk to you guys about this, because I just never want to be in that place ever again. Anyways, I'm getting off track here, but over the past 6 months, I went cold turkey off of not cold turkey. The way they do it, they're weaning you off of medication. So you take a lower dosage, you're splitting your dosage, you're going lower and lower and lower over the course of a few months. That took about 3 months. And over the past recent 3 months, I have become the happiest version of myself that I have ever known. And I do things that make me happy. Like, I'm able to go outside and feel the sunlight on my skin and hear the birds chirping and be happy. And this is all new to me again, because nothing made me happy. I was angry for a long time. I would go through like a lot of ups and downs, especially like I would miss a dosage and I would feel a lot better. And I'm like, oh, this isn't right. I need to be back on my medication, especially while traveling. And then I would go back on and I'm like, this medication is turning me into a zombie. I was nervous. I was picking at my hands. I was picking at my lips. Like, I just had like no personality. And especially on camera, I had to really, really turn it on. My brain got really foggy. I couldn't think. I was always looking in the mirror and like I was obsessing over how I would look. Like, I needed to be more than perfect. And there would sometimes I'd film videos and I would never put them out. I have like maybe like 40 videos that I've never released because I wasn't happy. And now being on the right medication has opened my life up so much, and so many doors are opening, and I'm able to like heal and nurture my soul and do things that really make me happy. And I'm writing again, and I'm creating content. I have so many videos that I'm excited to do and excited to put out. And for the first time in my life, I'm just excited. I'm excited. I'm not angry at anyone. I'm not blaming anyone. You know, I'm looking forward to the future, whereas a year ago I wasn't. I was scared, I was in a dark place, and I was alone, even though I was surrounded by so many people, and I had so many people out there that cared about me. I just like always felt very alone. You know, I'm grateful for where I am and the opportunities that I have and the things that I do, but it is a very isolating world to be here, to just have this camera on me. It's not what I'm used to. I'm used to being on set. I'm used to being around a lot of people, and this pandemic really shook me, and my breakup really shook me, because I realized like I had nobody to care for anymore. And that fulfilled me, caring about people and being there for people and being there for my friends. That is what fulfilled me always. But I can do all that, and I realized I didn't have anybody who cared about me, because I was pushing everybody away, because I just didn't want to be hurt, and I didn't want people to judge me or think less of me because I was on a medication, or you know, whatever the thought process was. But I wanted to make this video, my return video, if you will. Don't call it a comeback. To show you guys this part of me and what I've been dealing with for the past year. And if you can relate, I love you so much, and know that you're not alone. You're not. There's so many people that care for you, and it's okay to let people in, because this is what matters. This is what life is all about, caring about other people and helping other people. But you have to also help yourself. You can't just focus your 100% attention on somebody else and the other people around you. It's like burning a candle at both ends, and I've been doing that my entire life, because I'm afraid. I was afraid of losing people and people judging me and thinking less of me and not having the same opportunities as my friend. I was constantly comparing myself to others. Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? I'm so talented. I'm so this. I'm so that. I have so much potential, but why am I not having the same opportunities when I work just as hard as this person? I wish I could have done this 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was 17, 18, when I was just an innocent person, just like out in the world without anybody watching my back. I was working 3 jobs. I was putting myself through school. I was running to New York every weekend for internships and opportunities and jobs and acting gigs and all this stuff, but I didn't, and this was a life lesson for me that I'm sharing with you guys. So hopefully you don't have to do that. Reach out to somebody, talk to a friend, talk to a therapist. There are people out there that care about you. There are resources, which I will link down below in the description and the AdSense of this video. I'm gonna look up some organizations that help with mental health. I know there's a lot of apps. I'm gonna link everything down below. I will be donating the AdSense from this video to those organizations. And if you guys know of any, please comment them down below. But let's start a discussion in the comments. Let's talk. I wanna know how you guys are feeling, what you guys are going through. I know pandemic affects everybody very, very differently. For me, it has, of course, but I'm really lucky to come out on the other side, and I know that there's so many people who don't, and so many people who stay in that darkness and stay lost. But mental health is so important, and I'm here to tell you that it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength to ask for help. It's a sign of bravery. It's a sign of being strong. And it is so important. You know, if you're unhappy with the outside, you cannot work on that until the inside, until your heart feels complete and your soul, and you feel happy. God, this has been so uncomfortable to talk about. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for not judging me. If you are judging me, whatever. I've been on the internet enough. I was in a very public relationship for over 6 years. I can take it, but I'm not scared anymore. I'm so excited for what the future is gonna throw my way. And I'm excited to put myself out there again, making friends, forming connections, being my best self, taking care of myself. Even though I was very active before, you guys know I live a very active and healthy lifestyle. It was just, I was giving myself 20%. I was giving other people 80%. You can't do that. It's not selfish to put yourself first. It's not. It's a crazy world out there. You gotta put yourself first and then worry about other people. You can do it simultaneously, but always put yourself first. I am not gonna cry anymore. I'm done. Actually, no, I did want to talk about that. Like, I haven't cried for a very, very long time. It's weird to be emotional. It's weird to watch a movie, for me now. It's weird for me to watch a movie and to cry when people are crying, to feel what other people are feeling through a screen, to go outside and like really just like feel euphoric because of it's a beautiful day, or you're driving in your car and your favorite song comes on and you just go like living your best life. It's weird for me to feel those emotions. It's all new to me again, and I'm really thankful because a bitch is emotional, clearly. I can right now and I can cry. I can look at something beautiful and cry. I can watch a sad movie and I can cry, and I couldn't do that before. It's really a slippery slope if you're on the wrong medications, and I was for a very long time, and I'm grateful for the team that I have around me, that me reaching out for help. Nobody's reaching out to me and say, hey, are you okay? And I miss having that. I have my friends, of course, my dear friends back on the East Coast. I don't have a ton of friends in LA. I have maybe like 3-4 friends here. I know on the outside it may look like I have a ton of friends, millions of followers and subscribers and whatever, but I don't. But I'm excited to build that life that I want. Good, unconditional people that are there for me. And I'm also excited to let that love in and accept that love, because I haven't for a long time. Who knows, maybe that was it was an issue in my last relationship. I was always there for that person, and I wouldn't ever let them be there for me. And and I've learned that lesson now, and I know that I'm not gonna make that mistake again. And it's hard. It's hard for me to be vulnerable and be open and let these walls down, but again, that's what life is about. It's about forming these connections and being real. I'm done like putting out this perfect picture of me. I'm just done painting the picture that I'm okay all the time when I wasn't. I feel like I'm okay now, but I'm excited to be open and honest with you guys moving forward about so much more. Of course, like I'm never gonna share my entire life because that's not me. Like you're not gonna see me Snapchatting or, you know, storing every single thing, because I do like to keep a lot private, especially when it comes to like personal relationships and dating, you know, whenever that comes in my life. But yeah, I'm rambling now. I'm excited. I'm happy for the first time in so long. I've done a lot of growing, a lot of healing, and I have so much more to do. And I'm so excited to discover who I am. I'm excited for you guys to see who I am even more, and for us to build a community here that's based on honesty, vulnerability, and fun, and just having fun, having a good time. And I'm excited for everything to come, and I'm thankful for you guys for watching this entire video through. Again, I love you so much. You're not alone. I know everybody says that, but I promise you you're not. There's gonna be a lot of helpful links down below. I will see you tomorrow. There's a brand new series launching on my channel with a very special guest that I think you guys are gonna be so excited about. Okay, Sassy Daniel, come back. Okay, girl, she's back, and I'm better than ever. I'm excited. I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. PST with a brand new series launching on my channel right here. So have your notifications on, like this video, drop a comment down below, share your
depression.
In no rush to drive, dating less, having less sex, and getting less sleep. And rates of teen depression and suicide have skyrocketed since 2011.
We're growing up in a Facebook, Instagram world. In other words, we're good at putting filters on things. We're good at showing people that life is amazing even though I'm depressed.
It would drop the text. I think it was more my state of mind. I was just pretty depressed.
Even while successful?
Yeah, I think it started.
With success. You're struggling, you're not depressed.
Right.
You're successful, you're depressed.
You know, it's funny because you talk to people and they say, what do you have to be depressed about? You have money and da-da-da-da. Fame is tricky because you read what's said about you and you know what you know to be true, and the lines start to blur.
I have been procrastinating this video for I can't tell you how long. I think the main reason why I didn't want to make this video was because I wasn't completely figured out with the whole depression thing, and I didn't have it all like understood yet, so I didn't want to make a video on something that I didn't fully understand, just because like me, it would drive me nuts talking about something that I haven't fully experienced. And I'm not saying it in any means that it's like I'm completely healed. There's a lot of different details going into like why my brain is the way it is, and me experiencing it at such a young age, and kind of like I'm just gonna be talking about a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be all over the place, but I'm gonna try to keep this as straightforward as possible and kind of like chronological order. When I started experiencing like depression first, and then how I kind of like lived with it for a while and started to just get used to it and deal with it, and then how I started getting annoyed with it and going from that to wanting to completely control it, to completely like get it out of my head, get it out of me, and take back my life, take back my motivation, take back my emotions. And then I'm going to talk about my medication and what I was on, how long I was on it for, what it helped me with, what it didn't help me with, and all that stuff, because I feel like with depression and mental health and anxiety in general, it's just super complex. And the reason there's stigma around it is because when somebody is hurting mentally, you can't see it, and it just looks like they're perfectly fine and they're making it up. Because there are people out there like that believe that mental health and depression is just someone who's crazy, someone who's making it up because they can't see it, or they just don't know the person enough. They really don't understand the person. They've never had a real conversation with them about it to understand what it really is. So I want to get all this serious stuff out of the way, because I don't want to be uploading super personal, super serious videos all the time. That's not my intention for this channel, but I do have to talk about this. And so if you're just coming across this video and you're not subscribing, you want to watch more videos from me, hit that subscribe button down below, click that bell so you're notified every time a new video goes up. And I'm Pretty much on this channel, I'm gonna try to post once a week on topics that either sincerely piss me off, or that I'm dealing with personally, or something that I see that you guys could get value from. But anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about that and just get into this video and talk to you guys about my entire depression story. So let's jump into it. So let's start from the beginning. I think I started experiencing depression in 2018 when I was about 19 years old. And the funny thing about this video is I'm talking about depression and I don't even know when I started having depression. It's so hard because it's like I'm trying to look at pictures to figure out when I like started experiencing it, and it's so hard because in most of my pictures I look like I'm happy, and that's just not the case. I can't even tell you the last time I felt normal, like no brain fog. I felt like I was in reality. I felt like I was like my own person, my own thoughts. I was here. That was the main thing. Like I am here in this moment. Depression causes a lot of things, and one of those things is brain fog, losing touch with reality. Like it's really weird, and I wish it upon nobody that they feel this way. You literally feel like you're just not in this world. You're in your body, and you're just here. You don't feel like you're alive. It's a really like scary feeling. So when I first experienced depression and anxiety and all that stuff, it was all like obviously new to me, and it was just like it felt very scary. And I never felt anxiety before. Of course, like as a kid, you would get scared and things would scare you, but then it would go away and you would move on with your life, and you would have normal emotions. You'd have a normal mood. Things you wouldn't be just like so anxious all the time. I was never an anxious kid. Even when my parents were fighting, I was never an anxious kid. And so that also has something to do with my depression as well. Just like growing up with parents who fight and like violently fight, it just kind of like embeds it into your brain in those situations, kind of just like messes with you, and it makes you think about like a lot of things like, oh, I wish I had a dad like Maddie's dad, or I wish I had parents that were normal and like really loved each other. And I wish I was raised as a normal kid, and I wasn't, because I used to think that I was like the way I was raised was fine. Like what am I bitching about? Like stop bitching. Like you're fine. Like the way you were raised, you're lucky to have the things you have, which is true. But I started to realize that more times than not, it was the pattern of my dad and the pattern of my parents fighting all the time that I normalized, and so I got used to it, and I was like, well, this must be a normal life. It does have an effect on like your own life down the road, and I've learned that it's like it sucks. So yeah, 2019 was when I first started like really kicking in. I think it's because I got like my first real job. I went to college. I moved away from my entire family, and all that started sinking in at once. And then I was like talking about it, like I think I'm depressed. Like there was days I'd start like sleeping in, didn't care. I would get bad grades, didn't care. It was not like that I really didn't care. It's that like I didn't have the energy to care, to try, or to even like feel like life was worth doing. So that was when that first happened, and that was when we were I think that's right after we stopped working our real jobs and started doing YouTube as a couple and stuff. So if you guys don't know, I do have another YouTube channel with my girlfriend, and we started like 4 years ago. And so from the point where we both...
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a brand new video. So as you guys have noticed, I have been gone for a little over a month actually. By the time this video comes out, I filmed this video multiple times, and it's
You know, your audience is so big that, you talk to a lot of individuals that have come to you with specific issues, and going carnivore has changed it. And I'm really curious because you said, and you talked about in the past, the type of depression that you had and how switching your diet aided with that. Now, I don't know exactly how that is with you now, so if you can describe that. But I also want to know, from all the people that have come to you or talked to you about issues like that have made the switch, have you noticed a correlation with an elimination diet along with helping with mood disorders?
Yes, for sure. The only time, and I'm serious about this, the only time I haven't seen it work is if that person was taking benzodiazepines, which is unfortunately what my dad was taking. And then I've seen people go to strict beef and weight, and it hasn't really helped them. Other than that, I've seen OCD, schizophrenia, bipolar, anxiety, depression, all those things alleviate. And the time frame seems to be somewhere between, some people it's fast. Some people with anxiety, especially the anxiety that's like in the morning, or it's not anxiety enough to be desperate, that can be like 3 days. I've seen that happen, so that's fast. And then sometimes, especially if it's severe depression where it feels like you're walking through mud and it's just debilitating, that's like 6 weeks to 5 months. So sometimes that can take a little bit longer. For people who have MS and a mood disorder, that seems to take longer, and I think that's because it's a nerve problem and nerves take longer to regenerate. It seems like joint...
She went straight to beef.
What is something you did once and never again? Tried to intervene during a street fight. Got shot for my troubles. Went to Times Square for New Year's Eve in New York City. I live in NYC and I figured it was the kind of thing I wanted to see but didn't need to see again. Went in 2000 when I was 18. Got there 11 a.m. and stayed for 13 hours in the freezing cold but with close spots to the ball drop and scream. I'm glad I did it. I'm also glad I've never done it again. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Cool seeing others who had a similar experience or who were there that day themselves or even at the exact same age. Got more karma and awards than I've gotten in 4 years and it actually kinda made my day, so thanks again. Ran out of toilet paper when I was 11. Saw alcohol wipe cloths and thought that would work just fine. No. As soon as I did that first wipe, it was as if the sun teleported into my asshole and I was hopping around the bathroom trying not to squeal. Mom opened the door to check on the noise and saw me jumping around with an alcohol pad between my cheeks. Keep alcohol away from your anus. A marathon in the desert. Edit. I just woke up in my time zone and boom, this exploded. Thank you for the awards and the upvotes. I'm gonna try and reply as much as possible. Bought a $20 lottery ticket. Lost $20. Never again. I stole a tester eyeliner from the makeup section at a store when I was 17. The security guy took me aside in a small room and questioned me. Asked for my information. And to scare me, he said this would always be in my record and companies won't want to hire me anymore, and I burst into tears and had a panic attack. He said he'll let me off if I pay double the price of the eyeliner. So I did and he let me go. Now, I don't know how much of what he told me was real and if the resolve was legitimate. But if he tried to just scare me into not becoming a serial swiper. It worked. Grabbed the hot grill as a 5-year-old. Learned my lesson. Edit. Wow. This blew up overnight. Thanks for the awards. And sorry to everyone injuring themselves. Cocaine. I remember feeling alive. Feeling like myself for the first time. Feeling like I was bursting at the seams with creative ideas. I was finally the person I wished I was. As creative as I wished I was. And as motivated as I wished I was. I felt like I had found the secret holy grail of success and happiness. Then I thought, oh, fuck. This is why people get addicted to it. So I vowed not to do it again and went back to being depressed and unmotivated. Removing paint from a table. I still need to finish sanding the thing, but that was a nightmare. Who paints a table with like 30 coats? Edit. Used Citrus Strip Safer paint remover. Then scraped the flat surfaces with a scraper. Then used steel wool on the other parts. Rinsing the chunks of paint off in between as it gunked up the steel wool real quick. Then repeated the process a few weeks later. Then used a belt sander on the flat surfaces. Now just need to hand sand the other surfaces. It's like you want to quit but you are too invested at that point. When I was 14, I accidentally mistook bike chain lube for sex lube. At first, I wondered why it was blue. But that thought was almost immediately overpowered by an intense burning sensation. Spelunking, cave exploring. For starters, it begins and ends with going through a million bats. And the journey in between is just too dangerous. In the last place in the world you want to get hurt. And super tight squeezes are freaky. Assume the green stuff on the sushi tray was avocado. Skydive. Nope, didn't help with my fear of heights. Carolina Reaper infused gummy bear. I almost called for an ambulance. Legitimately thought I was going to die covered in sweat, shit and vomit. Stayed at a bed and breakfast. I'm not social enough to socialize with people during breakfast. One time, I was around 12 or 13. I suddenly took interest on my sharpener. Since my pinky finger was small enough, I decided, why don't I sharpen my finger? Like, why the fuck not? So I plunged it in and twisted hard. Took nearly a week to heal. One of the most stupidest things I ever done. Spray deodorant on my ass to cover up the smell of my farting. I was 6. Once that spray hit my bullet hole, the burning began. Salvia. I experimented with lots of drugs. And especially psychedelics when I was younger, but man, take the most intense part of an acid trip but without any let up to ease you in. So you go from stone cold sober to tripping balls in seconds. The trip only lasts for 5 minutes, but you spend the next couple of hours playing catch up with your brain trying to make sense of things. And you'd better make sure you're with people you trust, because I could have easily walked right off my balcony without thinking twice about it. Buy cheap toilet paper. That one ply crap. Which was a cross between either using sandpaper on your crack or accidentally ripping through it and fingering yourself. Not paying attention to currents when swimming in the sea, and going anyway when there's a red flag and no guard. Dumbest shit ever. I was with my 2 brothers and my father. Happily splashing around. Suddenly we turn around and the shore just got very far away. So we start swimming back, but the sea is stronger than you. If you stop 5 seconds to catch your breath, you lose the progress you did during the last minute. And that's precious. I was young, so I don't remember it as a legit life-threatening situation. But my bros and dad still got chills when talking about it. Climbed the stairs up the CN Tower. It's a twice-a-year thing for charity. My friends and husband were all like, yeah, come join us. It's so fun. No. 249,144 flights of stairs is not fun. I've done it once. It's crossed off. Never again. Edit. Okay. It's only 144 flights of stairs. And 1776 steps. Sure felt like a billion. But this post has gotten some traction and I feel guilty. Cheat on a partner. Learned the hard way as a dumb teen that this is one of worst things you can do and only ever leads to everyone involved getting seriously hurt. Opening a link in Reddit when someone else in the comments said not to. Hiking through jungles. They look so beautiful in movies. In reality, they are some of the most brutal hikes I've been on. Let's start with the humidity. It's so bad it drenches you to the bone. And there's no escaping it. Being under a jungle canopy is like being in a pressure cooker. The heat and humidity beats you down harder than any environment I've been in. Then there's the swarms of biting bugs. From never-ending mosquitoes, giant spiders on everything, ticks jumping on you from everywhere, and colonies of aggressive fire ants crisscrossing the trails. You can expect to have more bug bites than you thought possible to survive. Put pizza wrapped in foil in the microwave when I was 10, thinking it will warm up quicker. It surely did by lighting on fire 3 seconds after I turned it on. Meth. So when I was really young, I liked to play military or something, and one time I wanted to be a hostage and escape from it to fight the bad guys like an idiot. However, I couldn't get the tape to work myself, so I asked my brother for help. So I went onto a cabinet and had my brother do it. I was excited to escape and fight the bad guys. Then I woke up in my dad's car dizzy, confused and dazzled. What had happened was because I was an idiot, and my brother was too. I was tied up on top of the cabinet, so when I wanted to get down I basically faceplanted so hard my mom said it looked like I got murdered. I amazingly only had a broken nose. So I never played hostage again. I was a stupid kid. Fried bacon naked. When I was 10-ish years old I knew about sexual things. And when you find smutty magazines and porno mags, you grow up believing that you're gonna have sex all the time with every random person. After shaving what small pubes I had, I rubbed toothpaste all over thinking, Yeah, the girls will like this. Did I think it'd taste better? Smell better? I have no idea. All I know is it stung. I had a cool mint dick for hours. Get drunk till I blacked out. Having people fill in the gaps in your memory is terrifying, especially not knowing how you got home. I don't drink anymore. Edit. Spelling is hard. Got drunk once with friends under the Ambassador Bridge drinking 120 proof rum from duty-free shop. Puked my guts out. Can't stand the smell of rum since, and it's been 53 years. This one time I was getting a drink that was only for $1. So I walked my way into the mini shops. Quickly grabbed one and ran out. I was running to my friend with the drink until I felt something in my pocket. Pulled it out and it was the $1. Sudden realization. I quickly ran back to the mini shop to see the shop owners scanning the outside of their shop. I gave them my $1 and said sorry. They looked at the $1, looked at each other, spoke in a different language, and went back inside. I'm pretty sure they called me an idiot, as I went back with shame. Ate a whole habanero in 2 bites. Edit ripped my inbox with everyone's similar stories. Bath salts. Tried some from a guy who went by Asian Billy. I did about enough to cover the head of a framing nail and was pretty much having a panic attack for the next 8 hours. I went to a casino with the other people I was working with and Asian Billy and sat at a blackjack table and just said, I have no idea what I'm doing. Sorry everyone if I mess up your bets. Everyone was cool and I ended up winning $175. Appa's really attentive to the answers and we should appreciate that. When I was a kid, my neighbor invited me to hang out with this new friend from school. He brought us about a mile across farm fields to a house he enjoyed stalking behind and watching for hours. Never saw him again, but always wondered if it caught up with him. Edit for clarity. My old neighbor met a new friend at their school. I went to a different one. The new friend proceeded to walk us across town to the house he'd been stalking. Did heroin for the first time and wasn't into the sensation at all. The same roommate that talked me into heroin talked me into smoking some crack to even out. Luckily I wasn't a fan of either and never did either ever again. Mixed milk and orange juice because I thought it would taste like a creamsicle, not make me projectile vomit. I did die for 2 minutes after a heart attack and don't plan on doing that again. For a while anyway. Does that count? Hitchhike. At 17. To Mexico. Edit. Nothing bad happened at all. Everyone was really nice. It was me and my friend, both girls, and we had a great time, but I think we got lucky. Coke out of a fat guy's belly button. Used Nair to remove all the hair from my junk with little effort. Don't ever do this. Jumped out of a perfectly functional airplane 45 years ago. When I just found out about masturbation, I used dish soap as lubricant. At first it was fine, but I didn't wash it after. The next day I woke up with skin peeling off the top of my dick. I could barely take a shower, it stung so bad. Never again. Pee in a garbage bin in front of a teacher thinking that it was a toilet. Sleep is important. Third wheeling. Never again. Makes me realize how lonely I truly am. Peed on a fence. Did you know some cattle fences are electrified? Cocaine. Feeling strong is a slight misnomer. You feel like your presence in the world at large has increased exponentially so that strong comes off as an observation. Not how you actually feel. Invincible is the closest word. Fun once and I left it at once. I called my mom by her first name once. Tried to exist with undermedicated bipolar disorder. Edit. My goodness. I've never had something blow up like this. I am so happy so many of y'all are feeling better. It is so much easier being stable. For those of you who are looking for help, my heart goes out to you. You are not alone. There is hope. You do not have to sit in the darkness. You can make it out, and I'm not just blowing sunshine. I hope each one of you finds healing on your journey. You deserve love, kindness, and health. If you live in the US, try here, SAMHSA. I'm going to mute this thread now. But I'm here on DMs for questions. I jumped off a roof barefoot when I was a kid. I'll never do that again. It was an older house and the roof was low to the ground. So it seemed okay. But my judgment led me astray. I landed on a stone entryway and immediately collapsed to the ground. I had to crawl my way back inside, and it was extremely painful. The reason I did this is because the bathroom door jammed shut and I had no way out. Old house. Didn't break anything, but my feet were bruised. I'm surprised I didn't break anything from the hard impact. Hung over and zipped my zipper before I was ready. Jerk off in the living room. My mom walked in. You know that thing you did as a kid when you prop yourself up between two objects, like a counter and table, and swing back and forth with your legs? That. Lower jaw in 3 pieces. Tongue dangling out through an open wound beneath my chin. No idea how many stitches. Teeth damages, which has already led to one of my front teeth dying due to damaged nerves. And to top it all off, this occurred just before we had to perform a bit of theater for the rest of class. And it has negatively impacted my ability to perform before any audience.
Okay.
But the scars add some nice character. Have a relationship with an alcoholic. He was sober for 2 years when we met and then stayed sober for another 2. The next 3 years were total hell. In and out of rehabs. So much heartache, disappointment and resentment on both sides. I was the only one working. I was the one doing everything at home. So many nights and weekends spent driving to and being at rehabs to visit, so no time off. I really loved him. I really believed I just had to support him by doing absolutely everything I could. Always visiting, bringing everything he asked for. Not whining for him to work or even do housework when he was sober. Basically ensuring there WSS no stress at all in his life. I really believed he would get sober again. I really believed that it would be okay. Until one day I knew it would not. Sweet op. Thank you for asking and creating this discourse among strangers. But you know the correct answer, of course, your mom. I looked into the sky during a lighting storm. Had a white flash burned into my vision for some days. I was ecstatic when my full vision returned. Edit. I love how people are like, I did it. Nothing happened. TF is wrong with you? That's some weird minimizing behavior. Cigarette. I'm mildly asthmatic. Enlisted in the military in a combat arms job. I stayed at my sister's place one night and we for the life of us couldn't find the vacuum cleaner to blow up the spare mattress. So I hit on the bright idea of using the car exhaust to blow up the mattress. Back then the car used leaded petrol. As a rule, I sleep with the windows and door closed, so I am damn lucky. Woke up next morning, in hindsight luckily, with the mattress 1/2 flat and the room smoking. But being low to ground near door. The draft under it keep me alive, again in hindsight. Running on a wet surface. I learned my lesson after getting a few staples to the head. Context, because everyone thought I fell on an actual staple. Sorry for confusing you. It was a Friday and I was almost 8. Since I wanted to play in the pool with everyone, I rushed to get ready. But I had to get a few floaties for my sister first. What I actually slipped on was a wooden plank. And I accidentally cracked a bit of my head open. I didn't realize at the moment and just laughed it off because the way I slipped was funny. My mom somehow knew what was happening and told me to stop laughing about it. I didn't understand how bad the situation was until I saw all the blood I lost in the shower. She had to show me what happened. And since she has some knowledge of being a nurse, I trusted her. It was so bad I had to go to the ER to get 3 staples in my head to keep the gush of blood from running. I hardly remember it since it was basically half a lifetime ago. But from what I remember, we had to wait for a bit. And I just wanted to go home and pretend nothing happened. I honestly thought it wouldn't be that painful of a fix. But after getting a staple in my head for the second time, I decided that I should be a lot more careful next time. Maybe getting a few stapler pieces in my head would have been worse. But I think it wouldn't be that bad now that I'm older. Lost my virginity. Never again. Fisting. Went tubing down an alligator and snake-infested South Carolina river with my southern friends on a 4th of July years ago. The adventure was only supposed to last 3 hours tops. It lasted 7 hours because the river current was slow that day. I got the sunburn of my life that lasted until November. We also lost a raft. And encountered 2 copperhead snakes and seen multiple alligators along the edges of the river. My Yankee ass will never do that again. The southern folks can keep it. Get struck by lightning, oh wait, that was 2 times hun. Work a retail job. Drew a perfect circle with just a pencil. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now,
what are your cringy I'm not like other girls stories that you're embarrassed about or were unfortunate enough to witness? I was my best friend's maid of honor a few years back and we were wedding dress shopping and this one quirky bride came in was like whatever dress I get is to go with my red chucks. I am not one of those girls who wear heels. I've always been different and the shop lady was like, actually, second to a traditional heel or ballet flat. Chucks are a super common choice for our many low maintenance brides, and her whole attitude just deflated. When the kid realizes the counterculture is just different culture and it's still a group of people who are all similar. Oh geez. I thought I was a stoner after the first time I smoked weed. I bought this Bob Marley shirt I wore all the time and done rasta colored bracelets and I felt so cool. Passed out on a rock band drum set after smoking a blunt like it was a cigarette and decided that wasn't the life for me. Passed out on a rock band drum set. God bless my friend, God bless you. Friend of mine started dating the single most dramatic girl I've ever met. We lived on the 4th floor. We always took the elevator. So, we all get in to go down to the lunch hall, and she literally dashes for the corner and starts rocking back and forth in a really sad act of being terrified. He runs over to hold her and explains she's terrified of elevators. First, she lived with us, on the same floor, for 2 months and we've all seen her on the elevator acting normal. Second, if you were really terrified of elevators, you'd just walk the 4 floors. It wasn't even that far up. Third, her acting was just terrible. Of course, a few weeks later, she forgot all about it and went back to acting normal on elevators again. I really like this story. In high school, one of my teachers asked everyone to say one word describing themselves and I said classy. I die inside every time I remember it. A girl at school once commented on my Facebook picture, "You look cute." 3. And edgy me said, "Thanks, you're not getting a heart back, that would be dumb." I remember being like 14 and this 16 years old guy asked me what my fantasy was and I said, well, I mean, most girls would like to have like Prince Charming on a white horse, but I don't like horses. I'm just different like that. He definitely meant sexual fantasies, not like romance, but I needed him to know I was cool and didn't like horses like other girls. This is so freaking funny. You are the horse girl. I wasn't like other girls because I loved hats. Top hats, specifically. For like a year in 6th grade I think I wore a top hat to school and I thought I was the crap. It's funny now, but oh my god did I cringe for years after it. I was dangerously close to being sucked into the steampunk trend of tiny top hats. I took 4 years of auto body repair in high school because I was clearly different than all the other girls. I did end up really liking it, but I started for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, but now you can repair an auto body. I spent my middle school years wearing fake coontail extensions and saying I'll kill you to anyone who tried talking to me, especially other girls. I don't know what the frick was wrong with me, but I'm still lying awake at night replaying it all a decade later. It's like 2 AM and I'm dying at this comment on Mayo. Just picturing someone walking up to you like, hey, and you slowly turn to them. Coontails dangling, I'll kill you. I hated anything new or trendy because I thought I was cool and contrarian for it. From ages 13 to 16, I like to not think about it. Same. I thought I was cool and contrarian for it. From ages 13 to 16, I like to not think about it. Same. Avoided mainstream music and only listened to offbeat quirky stuff that no one had ever heard of and I could only get online because it wasn't available in stores. I listen to some mainstream stuff now, but I don't hide the offbeat stuff I used to listen to. It had a lot to do with shaping my musical tastes now, so it's a part of me. Lady next door needed help breaking into her, probably not, son's friend's car. She said she could do it with fishing line and I happen to like to fish, so I had some braided heavy pound test and offered it to her. She pulls the amount she needs and tries to break it with her teeth. For a while. Me. Mom, that's braided line. Oh no honey, I'm a country girl. That's beautiful. I never realized being born in the South, a rural area, means you can basically chew through steel. I used to think I was a natural witch after watching The Craft for the first time. It was so cringy. The moodiest middle schooler ever. I miss it. I'm 29, so I lived as a preteen teen during the peak AIM days. Putting up away messages were the crap. Eating dinner with your family, let the world know. Be right back, let them know. Taking a shower, tell everyone. One of my away messages for just that was save water. Shower with me with the kissy face that had the little beauty mark for some reason. OGAIM users, you know the one. I was honestly like 11. Literally had never kissed a boy. Guarantee I was also still wearing overalls, keds, and bucket hats. I'm a 4th grade teacher now, and I realize now that I was an actual baby at the time. I cringe just thinking about it. Overall, I would really like to go back in time and smack some sense into me. I had one that said, save the trees, eat more beavers, and my dad freaked out. Thought I was funny, but I was 11 and had no idea what the other kind of beaver was. Girl in uni said she wasn't like other girls cause she could hold her liquor like a man. So went shot for shot with this big dude. People tried to stop her, but she was gonna prove herself. She kept saying she was fine. Finally, when she flat out passed out and we ended up having to take her to the ER for what was alcohol poisoning, was pretty clear she was just super stupid in that moment. Bartender here. I always try to slow somebody's roll when they are going shot for shot like this. In high school, I had this friend who tried so hard to be one of the guys to the point where she would call herself that often. I didn't realize how cringy she was until I ran into her at a party in my 20s. She walked up to my boyfriend, currently my fiance, grabbed his hat, put it on her head backwards, then asked for a haul of his cigarette. She doesn't even smoke, and coughed profusely. She then proceeded to play punch him in the stomach and started calling herself one of the guys again. A few of us just looked at each other awkwardly and slowly trickled away. I just love the phrase slowly trickled away. I was into Sonic games when I was about 10 or something, and obviously that made me one of a freaking kind. I also got into more video games in my teens, which was just, no female person has ever played a video game, ever, and this one plays several. I always loved dolls and dressing up as a kid. I would spend all my free time playing with my dolls. But when I went to school, I would scoff at the other girls for playing with dolls. I wanted to be seen as tough and cool. Spoiler, I was neither of those things. For my 10th day, my parents worked together to build me some doll furniture. Dad did a lot of woodworking, and Mum was good with a sewing machine. Together they created a cool little wardrobe and bed set for my dolls. They were painted white and had little flower stickers for decoration. My dad had even made a little mirror for my dolls to go on the inside of one wardrobe door, and Mum had sewn up a mini mattress for the bed. I just about cried when I opened my presents because I loved them so much. But my friend was sitting right beside me, and I knew if I told my parents I loved the presents, my friend would know I liked dolls. My lies would be undone. So I said, thanks, but I don't like dolls. They're for babies. My parents looked so freaking sad. I'm 25 years old and I'm crying as I type this because I still feel so freaking guilty 15 years later. A few years ago I got drunk at a family gathering and I sobbed to my dad and apologized for what I said and told him I loved the present. He knew. So I got my apology out, but I still feel like such a C. I used to think I was so cool for not knowing how to order a Starbucks drink because I just drink regular coffee. By the way, I've always hated black coffee. I pretended to like black coffee for so long. So good to be in my mid-20s and not care, feel like I drank battery acid. I wanted to be emo, but my parents wouldn't let me dye my hair or buy me new clothes. So I was just an ugly middle school girl with a crappy attitude in Bobby Jack outfits. Sounds like my goth phase. I think the most embarrassing thing I can recall is my friend doing the nice gesture of showing me a song she thought I would like, because I was always going on about liking techno instead of pop. I listened to a few seconds, scoffed, frowned, Remind me to show you some real music. I told her. What I showed her later was the competition music from Nintendogs. By opening up my DS and entering a competition. I cringed so hard I forgot what I was doing. There was a point in my life when I felt like I'm not like other girls if I 1. Don't complain too much, not be too emotional, have no strong opinions about anything, and basically go with the flow as much as I can. This led to having no boundaries and a lot repressed mental health issues on my part. 2. Can be a jack of all trades and knowledgeable about many different hobbies and interests. This led to having a lot of equipment I barely use anymore, spending a lot more money, and I feel like I can never get past the basics of everything, which made me lose my sense of self. 3. Basically didn't have my own identity and I could be any girl you wanted me to be. I'm not like other girls because I am all girls. I'm Whitney Houston. I'm every woman. I probably had most of my cringe moments as a teenager. I used to think I was cool because instead of using MSN or MySpace to gossip with schoolmates, I was on ICON playing Counter-Strike or Diablo 2 with my online buddies. I only listened to metal and I always wore black clothing while decking myself out in chains. Haha. On the plus side, with social media being in its infancy, most of my blunders have long been forgotten or were never immortalized online. I still have some quirky interests, I guess, but I don't shy away from the mainstream either and now like to think of myself as a reasonably well-adjusted lady. I think everyone gets a pass for cringy teenage behavior phases. Haha, we would have been good friends. Still not a social butterfly, but holy crap am I glad I grew as a person. I thought I was not like other girls because I didn't drink or party. I thought I was above my classmates who did. In reality, I was just jealous because I was never invited. Probably because I was such a snob. I was a total pick-me and I cringe when I think about it. I played the ukulele and sang like a stereotypical wannabe manic pixie dream girl. I also tried to get into riding a motorcycle, but broke my foot on it on a motorcycle safety course designed to teach new riders how to ride. I refuse to even be a passenger on one of those things now. So freaking different and adventurous. SMH. I want to punch the teenage version of me in the face sometimes. Someone I know got up in front of her class in middle school and made a speech about why women aren't fit to be president. No, she doesn't believe that anymore, and yes, she still dies inside every time she thinks about it. At least she changed her mind. My mill told my 4-year-old that she can be whatever she wants, except president, because women are too emotional. I was so peeved. Something so cliche, it hurts to even talk about. I am a girl. I work at GameStop here in Germany, so one might assume I am into video games. And for most people this isn't even something special anymore, so not even a thing worth mentioning. But we had that female customer who came into our shop and wanted to buy one of the Call of Duty games. I don't remember which one. And with the straightest face ever, she came to the counter and told me, obviously female, and my male colleague without asking, yeah, that's right. I am a girl that plays video games. I love playing with my male friends. Like it was so rare and so special and she felt so cool. Like so cool. I could barely keep a straight face while my colleague sold her the game and we burst out laughing after she went out of the store. TBF. Back in the 90s, I hid that I spent 80% of my free time playing Sonic the Hedgehog games, because my female friends would give me a hard time about how immature it was. My favorite was the pinball one. I was in my 20s. When I was in middle school, we had to make those desk nameplates for some teachers, and one of my friends was drawing on hers and wrote, "I am an otaku." So what? When she showed me, I said, "Why that? No one ever said anything about you liking anime." She got upset and didn't talk to me for a week. For context, I am from Latin America, so liking anime isn't something weird, and she wasn't the only one who watched anime in my class either. My mom watched Dragon Ball and Naruto growing up to learn English, so when I was chilling on Netflix the other day watching Naruto, she sat down and really enjoyed it. It was nice. It was the pain arc. I refused to wear the skirts in my school uniforms and wore trousers instead, even though 95% of the girls wore skirts. Then in my final year of school, I tried to skirts and felt like an idiot for suffering for 4 years straight with trousers just so I didn't look like the other girls. Oh good lord, there are so many. At one point, I based my entire personality off of the fact that I listened to metal, and that preference made me different and special. I honestly looked down on girls for liking pop or even the color pink. In retrospect, I think I was just lashing out about how people focused so much on my femininity. Also speculation about crushes and stuff, and I took it out on anything remotely feminine. In my defense, I was also like 10 years old. I was friends with my high school friends because we were headbangers. That's it. Sole reason. I cringe now, but it was the girls are too much drama phase for me. I was the drama. It's taken me a long time to stop looking at other women as competition. Now I crave female friendships. One of my best friends in high school decided to take a class in car mechanics. This friend also had zero interest in cars. When I asked her about it, I find out that she has this fantasy of being that girl who walks into a boy-only class and shows them all up. When she got to class the first day and there were 3 other girls enrolled, she was pretty unhappy. I used to wear a fedora and watch MLP. Fortunately, I stopped shortly before the neck, but stereotype really solidified. God was really watching out for me on that one. I used to wear super high socks with bright pink mid-calf Converse, usually accompanied with a punk screamo band hoodie. I was very not like other girls. Other girls had style and I had bright pink abominations. Oof, those bright pink mid-calf Converse got me. I had plaid ones that I wore with mismatched knee socks because I was so random. I still cringe at my manic pixie dream girl phase. Though truth be told, I still wear mismatched socks, but that's out of convenience now. I wore Argyle knee-high socks and Converse with my homecoming dress. I wore boxers under my skinny jeans like those emo guys in the early 2000s. I put maxi pads on my shoulders and told people I was going to try out for the football team. Okay, that third one's just funny though. As a teenage girl who grew up listening to classic rock, you can bet your butt I was one of those annoying ugh modern music sucks. I wish I grew up in the 60s/70s, 80s, etc. type girls. Thankfully I grew out of that, and if I could go back in time and talk some sense into my younger self, I would. I have the reverse version of this story. I'm a gay man who hadn't come to terms with that at this point in my life. 9th grade. I had a girlfriend, but we were both good Christians, so we mostly just watched Disney movies and hung out. One night we were lying on the trampoline after watching Pocahontas and she said, "Gustav Holler, I like you 'cause you don't want what the other boys want." She was absolutely right. This was in middle school, but back then I was the ultimate pick-me girl. I hated One Direction and was very vocal about it. I had no reason. Everyone else loved them, so I wasn't like other girls. Same with Justin Bieber, but he did turn out to be a dog. Technically I'm talking about a guy, but it's basically the same. So we were in Spanish class, 8th grade. We were in a unit about activities and how to say what you like to do and what you don't like to do. One of the words was listening to music. One kid in my class, who is infamous for being extremely pretentious, raised his hand and said, "Is there a word for making music?" This on its own isn't that bad, I guess, but after the teacher answered him, the teacher also said that making music is cool. The kid started saying, "Yeah, I'm a musician. I think a lot of people think I'm pretty out there because of it." Then he started talking to the kid next to him about his music, the entire class. Oh, and another story with the same kid. We were in drama class one time. Every class we would get a question we have to answer when roll call gets to us. On that day, the question was, "Who is a musician you really like?" Well, it gets to the kid and I crap you not, he says himself. With almost everything I did, I felt proud of myself for supposedly not being like other girls. I didn't wear the same types of clothes other girls wore. I didn't wear makeup. I was super unique because I liked anime, all that kind of stuff. I tried way too hard to make friends with guys because apparently I thought they were better than girls. For some reason. I do cringe looking back on it, but I also feel sad about it. Girls shouldn't feel pitted against each other. Despite my best friends being girls, I thought that I didn't get along with other girls in general because I wanted to distance myself from the media representation. Exactly the same as you about trying to make friends with guys. It was so dumb. A girl I had an extremely brief, not even one night stand with, sent me a questionnaire survey she made over a year later, asking me how she had performed and what would I change about her. We hadn't really talked in the meantime, nor since, but I did fill it out for her for a laugh. I didn't realize she wasn't joking. I'm pretty sure I recall seeing the girl's side of this on TikTok a few days ago. Mine was when I was just trying to pretend I could work on cars because I had changed my own oil once. So, I was bragging to my sister and some of our guy friends about being such a bad butt girl, and told her I'd change hers. I got down to it and was draining the oil and noticed it looked really clean. It was transmission fluid. I drained the transmission fluid. I was phoning a girl in middle school and I was showing her my taxidermy bugs and she said, despite me not being a girl, LOL. She said LOL. Other girls shop for heels and stuff, while we collect stickers and bugs. LOL. My Facebook history came up to haunt me with this today. 7 years ago I posted I just burnt my tongue on a piece of pizza, and I think that's a very strong metaphor that sometimes the things you love most in life will hurt you. Oof. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not like other girls, I'm strong and independent. Girl, you justifiably left your husband, and 2 weeks later your strong independent self moved your 2-year-old daughter in with a guy you met a week earlier because you can't bear to be single and haven't been for more than a month since you were 13. Whoa, this perfectly described my sister-in-law. S-woman so blind to her own codependency. She is our Ann Perkins, who essentially takes on the personality of each dude she is with. My not like other girls phase was unfortunately the hyper-religious kind. I'd wear the most unflattering clothes possible because modesty. Smugly muttering modest is hottest had all the other girls who were, in hindsight, justifiably upset with the school dress code. I also blared contemporary Christian music from my phone far too often during sports events. The list goes on. Luckily it didn't last that long and I was able to actually get to know some of the other girls and made some good friends by the end of high school. I do not know what actually possessed me to do this, but once in like 3rd grade we took a field trip and were riding in a charter bus. I had a massive crush on the boy sitting in front of me and his slightly older brother was sitting with him. We had passed something that smelled terrible and they were like, oh my god, what is that? And I literally tapped one of them, was like, yeah, I'm so sorry that was me, but I hadn't even farted. And then I told them about 2 or 3 more farts I had and apologized if they smelled them. I don't know why, or what the frick was wrong with me. It was the only reason I could think of to talk to them, I guess. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.
Classic matchmaking system, Blizzard. Blizzard has done it again. Classic matchmaking system. Win 1 game, lose 5. Thanks to Blizzard. Activation, Blizzard. Activation. The gods at Blizzard, the matchmaking gods, have smiled upon us with majestic penis.